Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So this is the first video about project and construction management subject. So in this video we will sharing about firstly is what is the project life cycle. Second is what activities involved during a construction project. Third is who are the key players, and the lastly is what is project planning and controlling. So before we proceed to the sharing in this video, so let me introduce myself first. My name is Nazrul Hazim and my metric number is 280743. Without a further ado, so let's go. What is the project life cycle? The project life cycle is the sequence of phases through which a project progresses. It includes conceptual, planning, execution, and termination. So let's go to the first part of project life cycle, which is conceptual phase. The conceptual phase, it is the phase to determine why the project needed, create a goal, estimate the resources that we'll use in executing the project, identifying the project stakeholders, and developing a business case. Second part is the planning phase. The planning phase consists of defining the project organization approach. Second, defining the project target, preparing the schedule for execution phase, defining and allocating tasks and resources, and building the project team. Next, we go to the third phase, which is execution phase. As usual, when executing the project, of course, you have to perform the work of the project design, construction, production, site activation, testing, and the other works based on what we have planned on the second phase. And the lastly is termination phase. The meaning of termination on this life cycle is not that after the project is complete, then we terminate the project by demolishing it. No. Actually, the termination of this life cycle brings the meaning of resignation, because once the team has completed all the tasks and the project owner signs off that all the deliverables are complete, then the project is closed. After that, every documentation is handed over to the project owner. Other than that, in this termination phase will be executed by assisting in transfer of projects, transfer of human and non-human resources to other organizations, transfer of complete commitments, and the lastly is reward personnel. Alright, so we have done on project life cycle. Next, we will go to the next sharings, which is what activities involved during a construction project. The first is construction supervision. Second is construction activities. The third is variation order. The fourth is progress payment. The fifth is certificate of practical completion, known as CPC. And the lastly, in the activities involved during a construction project is certificate of fitness, which known as CF. Alright, so we move on to the explanation on each activities involved in the construction project. So we go to the first activities, which is construction supervisions. The construction site safety supervision is an independent monitoring and supervision of construction activities at site primarily to prevent unsafe practice and to ensure safe construction practice are followed. It facilitates identification of hazards at construction sites and provides solutions to mitigate risks. The construction supervisor has to monitor and supervise activities such as preliminaries. The preliminaries bill for quantities of a construction project provides general information, mandatory instructions, and set up running costs for a construction contract period. Second is demolition. Demolition in the construction sector means the bringing down of buildings and other structures that are load-bearing or otherwise related to the physical integrity of the structure. Demolition is often done in combination with site clearing. Third is excavation and foundation. Excavation is the equipment heavy task of removing the earth from the allotted area in order to make room for the foundation, depending on the depth and hardness of the soil. The trench may need to be reinforced as earth is removed. Next is concrete and brickwork. Concrete is a construction material consisting of conglomerate gravel, pebbles, broken stone or slag in a mortar or cement matrix. Next, brickwork tend to be used for housing as the external component of cavity wall construction, in which they are tied to an inner masonry relief. Fifth is finishes. Building finishes comprise of plastering, pointing, painting, varnishing, white and color washing or distempering. These finishes fundamentally form a protective coating to the disclosed surface and thereby increase the lifespan of the materials. Mechanical and electrical engineers, which known as M&E engineers. And the lastly is external work. External works describe primarily the areas immediately surrounding the building, and provisions include minor roads in a housing estate, paved areas, boundary walls, railing, fences, and turf areas. Second activities involved during construction project is construction activities. Construction activities means any and all activity incidental to the erection, demolition, assembling, altering, installing or equipping of buildings, structures, roads, including land clearing, grading, excavating, and filling. Third is variation order. Variation order refers to any changes to the scope of works, planning, and specification or contract documents in a construction project. Fourth is progress payment. In the construction industry, a progress payment is a partial payment made to a business or contractor after the completion of a predefined stage of work. For example, a demolition or the addition of a roof and siding. These installments replace other approaches such as a single lump sum payment at the end of a project or a half upfront, half at the end arrangement. Progress payments help companies recover a portion of their costs along a project's way, thereby maintaining a steady cash flow. They also protect companies in the case of client non-payment. A firm may decide to stop working on a project until issues are resolved and payment is received. On the other side of the equation, progress payment gives clients a chance to assess whether the bill portion of work has been done to their satisfaction before the project proceeds. This incremental approval approach may head off problems. Fifth is Certificate of Practical Completion, which known as CPC. A certificate issued to the contractor by the superintendent or the superintendent's representative when the works under the contract have reached the stage of completion described in the general conditions of contract. Minor omissions or defect that will not inhibit the use of the works facilities are usually accepted. Also called Notice of Practical Completion. And lastly is Certificate of Fitness, which known as CF. Certificate of Fitness is a written certificate which certifies the building is complete and safe for occupations with the complete infrastructure and complies with the regulation of local authority. Instead of CF, it is widely pronounced as Certificate of Occupancy, CFO. This certification shows that the development was satisfactory with local authorities' approved plan and regulation. There were many cases about the delays on issuing the CF by the local authorities. Due to these complaints, there are many suggestions including cancellation of CF by the local authorities and replacement by approval from professional bodies. The main reason for the cancellation is to ensure the development, especially the buildings, were built accordingly, follow the specifications, and safe for occupation. Alright, let's go to the next part, which is key players. What are key players? The key players in a particular organization, event, or situation are the most important people or things involved in it. So, as for the project and construction, there are a few of key players that commonly have in every construction, which is the owner of project, the designer or estimator, which include architecture or planner, civil and structure engineers, which known as CNS engineers, mechanical and electrical engineers, which known as M&E engineers. And the lastly, in the designer or estimator is quantity surveyor, which known as QS. Alright, so the lastly in the key players in the construction project is the constructor. Alright, right now we almost at the end on these sharing sections. So let's go to the last part, which is what is project planning and controlling. For the project planning, a project plan is a model of the process that the project team intends to follow to realize the project objectives. It brings together a number of important aspects of this process, including its scope, timing, cost, and associated risks. For project controlling, project controls are process for gathering and analyzing project data to keep costs and schedules on track. The functions of project controls include initiating, planning, monitoring and controlling, communicating, and closing out project costs and schedule. Ultimately, project controls are repeatable processes for measuring project status, forecasting likely outcomes based on those measurements, and then improving project performance if those projected outcomes are unacceptable. Alright, Right now, I will show you some of the picture of successful construction project and a little short of video.